Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Royce Miller coming back at you with week. Oh Lord, I don't know. Week 6 of Royce builds Mega Construx Castle Grayskull. Also, Masters Universe Monday. Monday. I watched that, I took a break from that Masters Universe Revelations and started watching Masters of the Universe Defenders of Grayskull. Different, but maybe a little better vibe in a weird way. Like it's closer to a more traditional He-Man, for good and ill. Like there's a lot of repeated animations. Which, like, I don't know. I feel like repeated animations have a very spotty track record. Because, like, they can work, but it works best if they're very short. These are not short. They're like a full 10 to 30 seconds of them turning into a hero. Because it introduces an interesting idea to the canon, which I guess was already a thing because of Battle Cat, but that Adam can share the power of Grayskull with others. And I did fix the ledge. I figured out what was wrong. This piece I had accidentally set back. So like you'll notice this mountain piece is here, and then the other mountain piece is one stud forward. It was like that was driving me insane. Now it's all fixed and it looks lovely. Nope, not you. You. As well as... and then we're introduced to... so it's a little different than... the He-Man story we're used to, because it actually adapts a little bit of the mini comics that came with the toys, where He-Man is a wandering barbarian of sorts. So this version of Prince Adam is actually was actually raised by the Tiger Tribe, the people who made Battle Cat, or the race of sentient tigers Cringer comes from. And he has this sort of, and Cringer's basically his adoptive father. And he's got a best friend / love interest slash sister or adoptive sister named Chris, and did I use the wrong piece? I did. Fortunately, this is actually fixed pretty easily. Then meanwhile, Evelyn and Trapjaw, or Evelyn and Cronus as they're called, show, are robbing Eternos with a young street urchin who's a witch named Tila. And Cronus has a teenage companion named Duncan. Like his quote-unquote apprentice. How am I supposed to... Oh, I guess for some reason I thought it wasn't working. Now we use this curved piece. Oh man, that stings. Okay, Tila has been, ever since she was a little kid, has been drawn to artifacts of Castle Grayskull. And there's this whole backstory that we're not told at first about how this is a couple decades after, or not decades, but like a couple like maybe 6 years after King Randor's brother Keldor, whose name might sound familiar, led an unsuccessful coup and kidnapped Prince Adam. Both are presumed dead because after Castle Grayskull was apparently destroyed, but was actually hidden. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep, perfect. And I just need a seesaw piece, and a Utah piece. New Mexico piece, whatever. But so they steal the sword, or Tila steals the sword, shows her proficiency with magic. And then she takes it back to Evelyn and Cronus, and the voice in her head, as she calls it, which is the spirit of the sorceress, tells her not to give it to him. And so she doesn't, and instead escapes, leading to Evelyn and Cronus chasing after her with his apprentice Duncan. So then they run into Adam and his family, or his tribe, they call them. In the jungle, we find out that Cringer was declawed and thus can't, fight for himself. Well, he still has his teeth, but and then Tila gets there, and the village doesn't trust magic, so they lock her up. She can tell that Adam is actually a highborn of Eternos because of his accent, which, I don't know, it's kind of a funny idea, because they all talk in very plain accents. I don't know. I was wondering where I'd heard Duncan's voice before, and I believe he's Pitt in what is it called? Kid Icarus Uprising. A really good game that doesn't get near enough love. You can tell because Nintendo has yet to release or re-release it. And they usually have a tendency to re-release games people like. Well, that have a lot of support. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, weird piece. I think I've done this piece before, but it just looked weird the way they showed it. But like the whole cast is famous, is like iconic voice actors, top to bottom. Orko is played by Tom Kenny, SpongeBob, and they have a unique spin on him where he's not the Orko. The Orko. He's a, or he's one of the, he's a security droid that was accidentally uploaded with all of the real Orko's memories. But anyway, okay, so like they start destroying the village, and Tila gives Adam the sword to use, and Adam uses it and becomes He-Man, and he's like, "What the hell is happening?" And easily defeats Lynn and Lynn and oh, what do they call Cronus. Then Lynn and Cronus go to lick their wounds, and or Lynn and Cronus try to get some stuff to steal, or try to steal some sand stuff from the some like sky cycles or whatever you call them, from the Eternian patrol. But then they find them all turned to stone, with their very life essence drained. There we go. And they're like, "What happened here?" And they run into their old buddy Keldor, because they had planned a coup with him back in the day. And they wondered where, and they believed he had died. But what had actually happened was he had taken Adam to Grayskull and threatened to kill him if the sorceress didn't grant him the power of Grayskull. And so the sorceress gave him a choice. A powerful scepter or the sword of power. And he has this like voiced monologue, or voiced internal monologue about how the sword is for someone who follows others, or who, like the sword is the tool of a soldier, and but he doesn't want to be a soldier. Now, granted, that's not actually what the sword is. The sword is more a symbol of like it's a symbol of like swords have always been a status symbol. Yes, there have been soldier swords like the gladius for the Roman Legion, but more often than not, a sword was something only the wealthy could afford. That's why a lot of swords were very decorative. You know, how many peasants did you see? How many Japanese peasants did you see with katanas? Not a lot. That's why they had to rely on farm tools and stealth when they became shinobi. Anyway, so Keldor picks the staff, and it turns out that it's the Staff of Havoc, but it's been disguised as an Eternian artifact. And it curses him with this, like, blight. And he's been in stasis for the past, like, 5 years or so. And he had only just gotten out, assumedly reawakened when the Sword of Power was first activated. And so they bring him up to speed, and they reveal that his nephew, who Adam, has the sword, and so he goes and confronts Adam, and Adam doesn't remember him because he's got amnesia. And they have this conversation. He reveals Adam's true identity to him. And then betrays them the second he realizes that Adam can't transform anymore, and steals the sword, leaves him buried under a pile of rubble, which they break out of. But it's actually got a really good bit about like having to overcome your fear, because the childhood friend of Adam, who's like a gender bent ram man, has like this crippling fear of closed spaces because she had been in a horrible ship crash as a child, and it's what killed her parents, and the only reason she survived was because her father put his helmet on her. Which good way of sneaking that lesson about wearing your helmet in for the kiddies. But so, Keldor takes the sword back to Castle Grayskull to... Oh, not that one. Keldor takes the sword back to Castle Grayskull, and the heroes follow them there. But Keldor's laid a trap for him, and he wants Adam to use the sword to heal him, because, like I said, he's been cursed with this weird blight, and his hand is a skeleton. But so then there's this huge battle, and Keldor's being really selfish, saying that he won't share the power with Lynn and Cronus because they're only working with him because they want revenge on King Randor. Which, Keldor's gonna take revenge on his brother, so it's a moot point. Like, you literally both want the same thing. Anyway, but that act of selfishness from Keldor makes Adam wonder if he even can share it. So he tries to share it with his friends and turns them all into heroes. So Chris, the childhood friend, turns into not Ram Man, Ram Ma'am, which I feel like there was a better way to phrase that, because all I think is Ram Bam, thank you, ma'am. Duncan becomes Master at Arms, obviously. Tila becomes the new Sorceress. Adam becomes He-Man, which he already had done by that point, so I'm just reiterating, I guess. And then Cringer becomes Battle Cat. Oh, and Duncan had built him a new set of claws, which then get turned into really cool new claws, even. It's actually a really cool... Yeah, it's got some cool stuff. Okay, and then... Oh. Oh, this is just free hanging. Oh, no. Okay. Alright. Adam defeats Keldor, and then Keldor just like, fine, you know what? I'm just gonna let the corruption overtake me. And drags drags. Oh, and Duncan breaks his boss or his old boss's jaw. Okay. Oh. Oh. Get the fuck on there. Anyway, so the villains escape, and Cronus and Lynn see Keldor's new form, and they're like, ugh, because he takes him to Snake Mountain where he had been in stasis. And he's like, I've come to realize that I don't want the power of Grayskull. That's the power to help and to serve. I want to rule. And the perfect way to do that is through havoc. And then he becomes Skeletor. And yeah, he's got a really like the show is very exaggerated character designs. And mostly they're used for the transformations, like, you know, Adam into He-Man, Keldor into Skeletor. But Adam's dad, Randor, looks more closely related to He-Man than, I feel like he's got massive hands, and he's got those yowie hands. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Come on, get on there, you son of a bitch. Oh. I'm placing it wrong. That's the right place. Yeah, I'm just gonna put all the other ones in. Just maybe that will help focus it or something. You go here. You go here. Where did my soup can go? There it is. Sometimes you just gotta give it a little tough love. Anyway, so the show has kind of a loose continuity to it. You know, it's one of those shows where it's like, oh, it's simultaneously episodic and continuous narrative. Okay. Good Lord. It's got to get above, like it's got to get to here before we actually build the wolf gate. That is freaky. How much we have left to build even. Okay. Whoa. But the episode that I heard the most buzz about was, and actually pretty thoroughly enjoyed watching, was the one where Skeletor is forging weapons for his minions. So, Lynn's staff, Beastman's whip, which, by the way, they meet Beastman, and he's actually a poacher who had tried to force Cringer to fight in an arena pit. You know, he's like a dog, or he's like he's like a poacher slash cockfight guy. Which I think is an interesting, like, you know, just combining all the evil stereotypes of animal abusers into one. Which, I mean, those are awful things to do to an animal, but also he's weirdly, like, more animal than any of the animals. Like, he lives out in the jungle, he's got fleas. He's got fleas now, he died. Sorry. But anyway, so Skeletor's, and then he also takes since before the coup, Cronus was master at arms. He built himself a jaw, and so he's Trap Jaw. And Lynn's staff, because Lynn was just always an evil sorceress. In fact, when he reveals that he knows Adam can transform, Adam asks, "Who told you I could transform?" And then Keldor says very simply, "The two sociopaths with the rocket launcher." Like, he knows what assholes they are. Keldor has kind of an understated evil about him, more manipulative, but then when he goes Skeletor, he goes full ham. Because, of course, you have to. You have to do the full Skeletor. But anyway, as Skeletor's forging them all weapons, the power of havoc that he's using to forge them is causing a horrible storm in Eternos that's like ravaging it, and it's like a hurricane, just a horrible, powerful windstorm. And that's when, Randor realizes that Adam is still alive and Keldor is still alive. And at first he's like really happy to see his son. But then he's like, "You have to give up the power of Grayskull." And then he's like, "But I'm saving people. We need this to fight like Keldor." And he's like, "No, no one is above the sun. No one is above the law, not even my son." And basically declares his own son a fugitive right after finding out that he's still alive. What are we at? 39? Okay. I think we can do another one. Number 17. Looks like 19 might actually be the gate. And then all the 20s might just be the snake of Snake Mountain. There's 18. Okay. That's kind of where I left off in the show, though. And, like, the voice cast so far is really good. The original voice actress for Oracle in Arkham Asylum, Kimberly Brooks, plays Tila. Oh, Tila also has a special form, and it's the Sorceress. And it's weird that they also do an episode where she initially rejects the new power, which is kind of the whole point of Revelations, is that Tila doesn't want to be the new sorceress. It's like, hey, what if we... It's like, you know, like, hey, what if we made this single episode much longer? Okay, 2 of these, 1 microphone piece. Well, it's a ball joint, but looks like a microphone. 1 of those curved, studded plates. Ooh, look at the spooky faces. The spooky faces have a big Filmation vibe to them. Like, these look like something you'd see in Scooby-Doo. Or, the Filmation Ghostbusters. You didn't think you could get rid of me forever, did you, Ghostbusters? And here I thought fruit prevented scurvy. If you know what that's a reference to, you're an amazing person. And you have fantastic taste in internet creators. I'll spoil it anyway, just because he deserves the business. That was a reference to Chad Rocco's video on Sam Hain, the Ghostbusters villain. Which, by the way, why haven't we gotten Sam Hain as a movie villain yet? I feel like he'd be a perfect villain for the films. Like, the fact that they used fucking Gozer in Afterlife just makes me think they were creatively bankrupt. Like, I get the intention. They're like, oh, Gozer, oh, like this is giving them a chance to undo the thing they, you know, correct a mistake by saying, yes, we are a god to her this time. I don't know. Just finish him off, you gibbering oof. All right, best buddy, you take the 500 on the left, and I'll take the 500 on the right. Screw you, Kakarot, I'll take 501. That's the spirit. Wow, I can't believe each and every single one of them kicked you in the nuts. You are inside me. Vegeta, he shrunk us. What? No, I'm part of the Big Getty Star. But the Big Getty Star allowed me to cheat death. How could this be? One time Chad was doing, he was, back before he started a VTuber channel for it, he was streaming Hearthstone, and he was doing matches against the Watchers, and I did one with him. And I was so proud of my, I think it was still my Miskatonic Pirate deck. I was so proud of it, and I thought I could beat him, and he kicked my ass, because he's a more experienced Hearthstone player than I am. And And I said, but the, and then I couldn't help myself. I said, but the big Getty star allowed me to cheat death. How could this be? And someone in the chat finished the quote for me, even though it was like they knew what I was getting at. Alright. Good God, this is so tall. Like, granted, I'm looking at something with less pieces that's currently way taller. But, and I don't think this is going to reach quite the height of the Daily Bugle. The Daily Bugle might actually be taller than a Verador, even though Verador, I believe, has more pieces, but it's got a bigger base. I'm all about that base, Don't want no trouble. I hate that song so much. There was a period of time where it feels like people were just trying to make the most annoying songs possible. That's what gave us Blurred Lines, I'm Sexy and I Know It, which, okay, I actually kind of like it, I'm Sexy and I Know It. Although, anytime I hear the chorus to it, I always think, you know, the wiggle, 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 yeah, wiggle. I imagine that he's wiggling that, like, Speedo that he wears in the music video, and you see his dangling basically flopping around underneath like a tay in the wind, to quote Nell. Ugh, I hate Oscar bait movies, don't you? You want a tay in the wind. You want a tay in the wind. Team 4-star, I keep hearing that name. What is that? What even is that? Also, I keep hearing a voice that sounds like, that sounds exactly like, what is his name? Liam Neeson. And it never is. So, in Revelations, the guy who plays Man-at-Arms sounds like Liam Neeson, but it's the Onion Knight from Game of Thrones. And then there's also a guy who sounds like him as Cringer in the other show, and it's not him, it's some voice actor. Okay. Come on. Get in there. There we go. Look at that. Like, it is interesting how they disguise it enough where you don't realize that there's a repeated element. Oh. I was also watching some of the old He-Man cartoon, like a compilation of Skeletor or just being sassy. And he really is very sassy in the old cartoon. You know, he's always got a name for. So, and he actually does do some pretty intelligent schemes, but I don't know. And that is something that, like, I think a lot of things need to take to heart is that the villain needs to appear threatening, so that when the hero does win, that they seem like they've overcome a great obstacle. You can't have the villain be too incompetent. Oh. There's like a lot of like big shield pieces. It's gonna be coming up soon, I think. Oh. It'll just be nice to get off these purple pieces. Looks like a purple people eater to me. One long hand, one green eye. Come on. You got the power. You got the fight. Give me your money. You have the man. Beat the Black Knight. No way. Yeah. Oh, mother. There we go. Get ready for battle. Beat the Black Knight. Give me your money. I remember when I first saw one of these like weird doorway hatch pieces, and I was so confident that we reached the wolf gate. Oh, what a fool I was. Whoa. Okay. Alrighty. Now I gotta build more. Gotta kind of build a structure. Probably my brother get ready for work. Okay. Should slide right in here. Oh. Oop. Let's try that again. Get in there. There we go. Okay. Now we need 2 triangles, a tab, and a 3-length plate. And come on. Ugh. Okay, now we're building more interior sections. Okay, it's the same. here. This goes here. Okay, there we go. Have these go here, sort of like a flank of sorts. Okay. This goes here. Oh, no, no, other way. There we go. That goes there. And this goes here. Not that one either. What? Okay. I must have missed a step or something, because I definitely missed a step somewhere, because there's a ton of pieces that perfectly fit the areas that I missed. And well, I mean, all that's left to build is the Wolf Gate. I mean, there's still more left to build, but anyway, I am tired. So I'm gonna go to bed. No, I'll put it in this first moment.